Joey and I had been friends for as long as I could remember. We met when we were 10 at a day camp by Long Island Sound, between 5th and 6th grades. We both had a mischievous streak and quickly bonded over our shared scheme of knocking away everyone else's croquet balls while protecting our own. Our friendship deepened as we discovered a mutual love for crabbing. We'd meet up after camp or on weekends to hunt crabs around the marina pilings. Joey was undeniably the better athlete, probably due to being a bit taller and stronger. I'd like to think I was smarter, at least my grades suggested so. In terms of looks, Joey had a distinct advantage with his blonde hair, blue eyes, and constant smile, though I was never teased for my appearance. We attended the same high school and stayed close. Instead of crabbing, we spent our weekends sailing and fishing, often bringing home fresh fish for our families. Our friendship had endured through puberty and junior high, and we managed to navigate the new presence of girls in our lives. Both of us had no trouble finding dates, often going out together, but we were always each other's priority. Our bond seemed unshakable. However, things changed in 12th grade when Joey met Elise. Gradually, Elise began to dominate Joey's time, leaving little for me. I understood that growing up brings changes, but Elise didn't seem remarkable to me. She wasn't attractive, had little figure, and her personality was far from pleasant. I struggled to understand why Joey was so captivated by her, to the detriment of our friendship. According to Joey, it wasn't Elise's appeal but the way she affected him. He still valued our friendship and wanted to sail with me, but Elise always seemed to be in the way. When Joey mentioned needing time with his male friends, Elise even questioned if Joey might be gay. She couldn't understand why two guys would spend so much time together. The real shock came when Joey announced his engagement to Elise. Initially, I thought she must be pregnant, but Joey assured me that wasn't the case. He believed he wouldn't find a girl better than Elise and wanted to settle down before he ended up alone. It was hard to believe that Joey, just a senior, had such a mindset. Joey claimed he had 3 uncles who never married, and he feared ending up like them, lonely and burdened with health problems from a lack of love. Despite his reasoning, it seemed like a poor excuse. I tried to convince him that he could find someone better, but he wouldn't hear it, even though I argued passionately. I was feeling deeply depressed about Joey. My life felt empty, and I missed his presence terribly. I knew I wasn't gay, but I truly cared for him. We had been inseparable for years, and his absence plunged me into a troubling depression. One spring Saturday, while I was aimlessly wandering around the house, the phone rang. With no one else at home, I answered it. It was my grandma from Manhattan. Since Grandpa had passed away a few years back, she'd been living comfortably in a lovely apartment near Gramercy Park, with opportunities to travel and enjoy life. Grandma must have known I was alone. My parents had probably mentioned my situation to her. "Listen, I need you to come into the city for a visit. I have something important to discuss." "Grandma, I know you don't really need me. You just want to distract me from Joey. Come anyway." "But Grandma." "Come. I'll see you for lunch." And she hung up. Reluctantly, I made my way to the train station, took the next LIRR train to Manhattan, and then a cab to her apartment, arriving by noon. Come in, dear," she greeted me with a warm hug. "Hi Grandma," I said weakly, "good to see you." "Let's have lunch," she said, leading me to her large dining room table with a view of Gramercy Park. "My favorite grandson doesn't look too happy, does he?" "You know why I'm unhappy. It's about Joey, right?" "Yes." "So what's going on?" "He's engaged to Elise and hardly ever sees me now. We were so close, and now this terrible girl has pushed me out of his life. I can't believe it." I fought back tears and let out a sob, feeling quite foolish. Grandma, though only 5'5", had a commanding presence and carried herself with grace, always dressed elegantly. She sat up straight and looked at me with a serious expression. "Let me be honest, dear. You won't win Joey back like this. Boys eventually end up with girls, and that's just how it goes. Her words didn't comfort me, they only made me feel more upset. However, there's no reason you couldn't be the girl Joey falls in love with. I was puzzled, my mind spinning to grasp her meaning. Finally, I asked, what? You could be the girl Joey falls in love with. He might fall for you instead of Elise. Grandma! Are you suggesting I pretend to be a girl to win Joey? Besides the fact that I don't look like a girl at all, Joey would never want to date someone in drag. Don't be silly. I'm talking about you becoming a real girl. It would be a permanent change, no going back. What? Are you talking about surgery? I'd end up looking like a Frankenstein experiment. I don't think any amount of surgery could make me a desirable woman, and Elise isn't that bad looking. No. Just hear me out. You, or any man, can transform into a woman if you follow my instructions precisely. It requires an intense level of concentration and determination, perhaps even more than what the Marines endure during basic training. But I'll be here to guide you, motivate you, and with a bit of luck, we might succeed. You could become a beautiful woman by this evening. Then you could return home and tell Joey that his best friend is now in the body of a stunning woman, giving him a chance to leave Elise and be with you. I was speechless. The idea seemed implausible, but Grandma's confidence was convincing, and she didn't seem crazy. Becoming a woman for Joey seemed like an extreme measure, but I couldn't think of any rational reason why being a woman would be worse than my current life. I'd retain my intellect, and women can now participate in many sports. The thought of having children was daunting but intriguing. But what about Mom and Dad? I've already spoken to them, and they're supportive. They just want to see you happy again. I found it hard to believe that my parents were so indifferent about me becoming a woman. Well, what's your decision? Grandma was pushing me to make a monumental choice. Grandma, don't rush me. I'm sorry, but today is ideal for this transformation. The weather is perfect, all the stores are open, and I'm leaving for a 4-week trip to Germany tomorrow to see Berlin before I die. It was all happening so fast, but given my current state, I couldn't see how it could make things worse. If it worked out, I could eliminate Elise from Joey's life and restore our friendship. Suddenly, I imagined us fishing together as husband and wife, and it felt so right that I blurted out, "All right, Grandma, I'm in." How do I become a woman? Grandma's face lit up with joy. It won't be easy. You need to want this with all your heart. You must reach the deepest level of introspective concentration, and from there, you can start altering the chromosomes in every cell of your body. Your late grandfather discovered this possibility before he died. He mentioned it on his deathbed, and I've always wondered if his insight was accurate. Your situation with Joey seems like the perfect opportunity to test it. The idea is that we're all naturally predisposed to be female, with only the Y chromosome causing the male development. By reversing the effect of the Y chromosome, we can revert to the female state. This is possible because the XY pattern is unstable to minor changes. If we induce a change in one part of the body, it can trigger a chain reaction that affects all cells. Your grandfather believed that transgender individuals might have experienced a halted chain reaction where the transition to womanhood began but stopped for unknown reasons. Thus, they live as women in men's bodies. The chain reaction, once started, is irreversible, as the double X chromosome is a stable state. Wow, Grandma, it sounds like Grandpa was a genius. I believe he was. I miss him greatly, but let's not dwell on that. We have a chance to prove he was right. What's the first step? First, you must follow my instructions exactly, without hesitation. Doubts or delays will only undermine your commitment and jeopardize the change. Do you promise to follow my guidance with complete dedication and focus solely on yourself? I'm ready, Grandma. I'll do everything you say. Great. Empty your pockets on the table and let's go shopping. Grandma led me to the corner of 5th Avenue and 14th Street. She pointed north. The Plaza Hotel is up at 59th Street. By the time we reach it, you'll either be a woman or the whole experiment will fail. But remember, the closer we get to the plaza, the more intense the pressure for change will become. You'll need to concentrate hard on your goal. It will be challenging, but once it gets better, you'll be the happiest girl around. Now, let's head into Klein's department store. We entered a large store near Union Square. Grandma directed me to the intimate apparel section, filled with bras and panties. All right. From now on, think like a girl. Pick out a bra and panty you like and come back. But Grandma, there are women here. Fine, if you're not willing, we'll go home. What? I'm giving you one more chance. Remember your promise? Yes. Then don't break it. Find a bra and panty you like and come back. I understood what she meant and began browsing the racks, trying to ignore the women shopping nearby. I quickly realized I didn't know my chest size and returned to Grandma. What size should I get? What would a girl who didn't know her size do? Try on different sizes? I suggested. That's one option, but it might take time. See that sales lady over there? I looked and saw a woman sorting panties with a name badge. Yes. Ask her to measure you for a bra. Any girl would know to do that. Heeding Grandma's advice, I mustered my courage and approached the sales lady. Excuse me, but I'm unsure of my bra and panty size. Could you help me find out? The sales lady looked at me with surprise. Measure you? I glanced at Grandma, who nodded. Yes, please. If it's not too much trouble. After a moment, the sales lady measured me. You'd likely wear a 36 AAA bra and size 7 panties. Thank you, I said and returned to the racks. I soon realized they didn't carry 36 AAA bras. I went back to the sales lady and asked, where can I find the 36 AAA bras? We don't stock that size, she replied bluntly. You should try a 36A if you insist on a bra. Thank you, I said again and resumed browsing through the racks. I quickly found several options for a 36A bra. Ignoring the fancy lace or pink ones, I focused on finding the simplest white bra available. I finally chose a plain jockey for her bra and found some no-frills white panties that even seemed like something a boy could wear. I returned to Grandma, who approved and accompanied me to the cash register. The saleswoman looked even more surprised to see Grandma with me, but accepted the situation. At the counter, Grandma asked, what's it going to be for your first outfit, a dress, a skirt, or jeans? I looked at her, confused. For your first outfit. What will it be? Not wanting to draw attention from the sales lady, I replied, jeans, I guess. All right, then add a pair of knee-highs for my granddaughter, please, Grandma instructed the saleswoman, who retrieved a pair from behind the counter and added them to my purchases. After paying, Grandma took me to the girls' jeans section and told me to find a pair, along with a top. It didn't take long for me to figure out that I needed to ask a saleswoman for the right size jeans and then a medium-sized blouse would work. I picked out a pair of blue denim Jordache jeans and a polo top, and Grandma paid for them. She then told the saleswoman, my granddaughter would like to wear her new clothes out of the store. Can she use the fitting room? The saleswoman was startled but didn't have a chance to respond before Grandma led me to the women's fitting room and pushed me into a booth. Change into these and leave your boys' clothes behind. Yes, you can figure out how to put on your bra. Feeling a mix of confusion and apprehension, I focused on the thought of how happy Joey would be to see me as a woman. I told myself I was lucky to have these new clothes as I undressed. The panties felt different from my usual jockey shorts, lighter and snug in new places. The bra was a strange sensation across my chest, and the blouse and jeans didn't seem to fit well, highlighting my male shape. When I stepped out to show Grandma, she offered a small comment, it's a start, honey. Now let's get you some shoes, pick out a perfume, and get your ears pierced. I was considering girls' sneakers, but Grandma intervened. No, You need to start walking like a girl. Let's get you some proper shoes. I spotted some penny loafers with a low heel, and Grandma said they'd work well with my jeans, so we bought those. I left my boys' sneakers behind and walked away in the new shoes. At the perfume counter, overwhelmed by the many options, I chose the first scent I encountered, La Escada. Realizing too late how feminine it was compared to others I had smelled, I saw Grandma was pleased with my choice. Grandma then guided me to select some lipstick and a compact, and choose a handbag from a large collection near the cosmetics counter. I opted for pink lipstick, thinking it would complement my lips, and a white handbag with a long strap. We moved to the jewelry counter, where I picked out some gold studs and had them pierced in my ears. Though I felt self-conscious about the whole process, especially as men don't typically get their ears pierced, I was slowly getting used to ignoring the stares. I may not look like a beautiful girl yet, but I hoped that would come in time. For now, I told myself to let people stare if they wanted to. On the street, we faced north on 5th Avenue. Now we start walking uptown, Grandma instructed. I want you to focus on the women around us. Observe everything about them, their clothes, hairstyles, figures, jewelry, makeup, and how they walk. Pay attention to every detail and really concentrate. Yes, Grandma, I replied. The goal is for you to imitate them as closely as possible. I understand, Grandma. I'll do my best. As Grandma anticipated, the street was crowded, with many women passing by, far from the frumpy, overweight Midwestern types in jogging outfits. These were elegant, sophisticated New York City women, from secretaries to CEOs, dressed in impeccably tailored suits, dresses, skirts, and blouses. Focus on adjusting your walk, Grandma advised. Avoid taking big male steps. Instead, make your steps smaller and more ladylike. I struggled to shorten my stride, but observing the many pairs of stockinged legs helped. I did my best to mimic their movements and felt like I was making progress. However, before we reached 17th Street, a new wave of self-consciousness hit me. Grandma, I feel ridiculous. These jeans seem out of place on 5th Avenue. All the women are wearing skirts and dresses. We stopped in front of a large plate glass window, where I saw our reflections. Look at me. I guess I have some feminine qualities from the clothes and lipstick, but I feel like a kid playing dress-up. What do you want to do about it? Grandma asked. Would you be mad if I said getting the jeans was a mistake? I think I'd feel more like a woman in a skirt and stockings. I want to look more like the women around us. Not at all, dear. There's no need to apologize. We'll find the next clothing store and look for a skirt. As we continued uptown, I turned to Grandma and said, a skirt sounds great, but I have 2 other big problems. What do you mean? Well, for one, my hair is too short, and we'll stop by a hair salon and get you a wig. What's the other issue? I don't know how to put this, but I don't have any chest. All the women I see have some chests, and I have nothing. I think I need chests. But where can I get them? Grandma reached into her handbag and pulled out 2 scarves. She crumpled one and said, stuff this in your bra. Out here on the street? Let's use that doorway, she said, leading me to a discreet alcove off the street, where I quickly patted my bra with the scarves. Looks pretty good, Grandma commented. Now let's get you some hair. As we walked further, I felt relieved with my makeshift chests, though I wasn't entirely sure why. Observing the men around, I felt like I was starting to differentiate myself from them. They probably didn't know much about bras or having a woman's figure. At 23rd Street, a large intersection, Grandma spotted a hair salon across the street. The window displayed a few wigs, and without hesitation, I pointed to a long, light brown one that I wanted. Inside the shop, Grandma had me fitted and styled. The hairdresser, Mario, was very flamboyant, and if he found anything unusual about me getting a wig, he didn't let on. With my new long hair, I had to admit I was starting to look and feel more feminine. As we walked up Fifth Avenue, nearing 28th Street, I grew increasingly impatient to get a skirt. Watching so many confident women in their short skirts made me feel out of place in jeans. If I was going to blend in, I needed to start looking the part, I thought. I peppered Grandma with questions about what kind of skirt to choose until she started laughing. When we reached 34th Street, Grandma said, "Now, honey, you'll get to do some serious shopping. We'll walk up one block to be Altman's, one of the best ladies' department stores in the city." Entering the store, I felt overwhelmed by the sheer number of women. The men's section was small compared to the 4 levels dedicated to women's fashion. The main floor was crowded with elegantly dressed women moving between elevators, escalators, and the extensive cosmetics and handbag counters. For the first time that day, I felt nervous and anxious, almost panicking at the thought of invading such an intimidating space. Grandma, sensing the moment's significance, addressed me in a casual tone, "Are you happy with your bra? Do you want to try a different one?" Her tone made it seem like we were just any grandmother and granddaughter shopping together. Summoning all my courage, I replied, "No, Grandma, I think I'd like to take another look at the bras." "Okay, let's go," she said, leading us straight to the lingerie department on the 3rd floor. The selection was vast, and I dove into the search for the perfect bra with enthusiasm. It didn't take long before I spotted a white padded lacy Olga bra that immediately caught my eye. "That's the one I want, Grandma," I said, and she smiled in approval. I was embracing the lace now, wanting to mirror the many women I'd seen on the street, their white blouses revealing glimpses of lacy bras and slips. And I also want a white slip, matching panties, and pantyhose. We purchased these items just as we had done downtown, then turned to skirt shopping. I found a pretty gray-fitted skirt with a matching jacket and a lace-edged white blouse nearby. I tried on the entire outfit in a fitting room. Stepping out to show Grandma, I twirled in front of the mirrors, admiring how the jacket fell open to reveal the lace of the slip and bra beneath. If only I could have larger chests. I mean real chests, I said. Grandma, with a serious tone, replied, "You will. Now is the time to focus. Look in the mirror and see the woman you are becoming. Stare deeply into your eyes until you truly see your soul. Do you see the woman there?" I concentrated hard as she instructed. Looking at my reflection, I said, "Grandma, I need makeup. I want my eyebrows to look prettier, these shoes are ugly, and I need a different lipstick, maybe red. I want a gold chain with a cross, a beautiful ring, a bracelet, and something nicer than this handbag. My nails are too short and plain, can I get them done?" The words poured out in a rush. I wasn't sure what was happening to me, but seeing my reflection made me desperate to be as perfectly feminine as possible. "Then let's go," Grandma said, catching my excitement. We hurried through B. Altman's, picking out the most beautiful high heels, lipsticks, and everything else we could find. They even had a nail salon, where I had long, artificial nails applied in a perfect shade of red. At the end of our shopping spree, Grandma led me to the ladies' room, which felt like a significant milestone. I felt a sense of belonging, like I was truly entitled to be there, just like all the other women. Inside, I observed the women moving about, entering and exiting stalls, sitting at mirrors applying makeup. I could see skirts and dresses draped over stalls and stockinged feet peeking out from underneath. When it was my turn, I lowered my skirt and pantyhose, sat down to pee, and looked up at the high walls of the cubicle. I felt like a small bird soaring over a sea of womanhood. I wondered where the transformation within me would begin, and I grew increasingly confident that it would. I imagined arriving home on the LIRR that evening, my parents embracing me with excitement, and my dad driving me over to Joey's house. I pictured Joey opening the door, immediately sensing something different about me from my eyes, and then bursting into tears as we hugged. I realized I would need to learn how to embrace my new identity as a girl and that Joey might be attracted to me. The daydream became confusing, and I refocused on the sounds around me, the conversations, the zippers, the clicking heels. I felt a surge of joy and pride, realizing how far I had come from 14th Street to 34th Street. After I finished in the restroom, Grandma helped me with my makeup, shaped my eyebrows, and showed me how to style my hair. Leaving the bathroom, I could see that I was starting to pass as a woman, though the basic male contours of my body and face were still apparent to me and occasionally to others. We walked back up Fifth Avenue, heading towards the 40s. The tight skirt forced me to take even smaller steps, and Grandma advised me to focus on my walk. Let your hips swing, feel your thighs brush together, and get that swish of your pantyhose. But also be graceful, glide along the pavement, let the high heels seem like a natural extension of your legs. It was a lot to manage at once, but it was getting easier. By 40th Street, I was walking comfortably, and Grandma asked, "Who do you want to grow up to be like? You're almost an adult now, whom would you want to emulate?" Just a few hours earlier, I might have said Mickey Mantle, but now, my thoughts had shifted. I found myself thinking about various celebrity women I admired and envied. The idea of becoming a famous actress like Diana Rigg, Emma Thompson, Julia Roberts, or Juliette Binoche thrilled me. Or perhaps being like Eleanor Roosevelt, Jackie Onassis, or Madame Curie. I think more than anything, I'd like to be a famous actress and use my fame for important causes. Grandma smiled, acknowledging that I had passed an important test. As we reached 42nd Street near the library, Grandma said, "You've got the externals down. Now we need to make a significant leap in your internal feelings. I want you to imagine yourself as each woman we pass. Put yourself in their minds. What are they thinking about? Reflect on that. Do you understand?" "Yes, Grandma," I replied, though I was apprehensive about what she had asked. We continued walking uptown, and I tried to scrutinize the faces of every woman we passed, attempting to read their thoughts. Beyond 42nd Street, I noticed more affluent women, dressed less in suits and more in fashionable spring dresses, clearly shopping in the upscale boutiques that lined the street. Observing the faces of these women revealed so much I had never understood before. I saw their gentleness, their goodness, their suffering, desires, and the sense of being pretty and desirable. I noticed how they navigated a predominantly male world. "Pick one out and become that person," Grandma instructed. A few minutes later, I envisioned myself as a striking woman in her 30s, wearing a bright red dress with long beads around her neck. I imagined her thoughts, shopping for a new dress for an important party her husband would take her to, worrying about a child's problem, and feeling joy about an upcoming vacation. I also sensed her concern about aging and, after focusing intensely, I imagined her discomfort from having her period, needing to find a restroom. As I concentrated on this, I began to feel a sharp pain in my lower abdomen and hunched over. "Grandma, I'm having a terrible stomach ache," I cried out. "Wonderful. That's a menstrual cramp. Keep going, think harder," Grandma encouraged. The pain intensified, and I told Grandma I needed to sit down. She led me by the hand into St. Patrick's Cathedral on 50th Street. It was a vast space, and she guided me to the front row where I sat in a pew facing a large statue of Christ. "Doubled over in pain," Grandma said. "Very good, you're experiencing your first period, in a sense. It feels like puberty is about to begin. I don't know if I can handle the pain," I cried, instantly regretting my outburst. Grandma's stern look conveyed everything I needed to know. Turning away from her, I looked up at the statue, and through my tears, I saw Joey's face smiling back at me. I realized I was becoming a woman not only because I needed Joey but because he needed me too. I was determined to save him from a life of misery with Elise. This revelation was so powerful that I knew no amount of pain could stop me. A wave of inspiration surged through me, and I felt like proclaiming my love for Joey from the altar. "Come on, Grandma, I know I can make it now. But I don't want to wear suits. I want a pretty dress. No, I want a beautiful, sexy, and fashionable dress. I want the most luxurious and silky underwear a girl can have, a stunning hairstyle, and expert makeup. I want to strut down Fifth Avenue like I own it. Straight to the Plaza Hotel, walk in, and be a woman." Elated, Grandma took my hand, and we danced down the aisle of St. Patrick's and out into the warm, bright afternoon sun. A couple of doors down at Saks Fifth Avenue, I felt like I had finally arrived where I belonged. We went upstairs to the young miss dresses section, and I glided through the racks, studying each dress, holding some up against me, and asking Grandma for her opinion. I was considering not only what I liked, but also what would appeal to Joey. I wanted a dress that perfectly blended demure and sexy to make Joey fall in love with me. Saks had an incredible selection of dresses, but I hadn't yet found the one I truly wanted. However, I was thrilled by their lingerie section, and this time I bought a luxuriously expensive white satin lace bra in size 36C, confident that I would soon become a real woman and that this would be the right size for me. The bra came with matching high-cut panties, and as I explored the racks of slips and other lingerie, I felt like a child in a candy store, eagerly deciding which items to choose. I came across a display of all-in-ones, lace from the bra cups down to the bottom of the girdle with attached garters, and wondered if I should opt for one of those instead of the bra and panties. "You can get one if you want," Grandma said. "It would look very pretty on you." "Do you really think so?" I asked, hoping for reassurance. "Yes, dear." Faced with the dilemma of choosing between the bra and panties or the all-in-one, I decided that I would have plenty of opportunities to buy the all-in-one later on once I became a woman, so I put it back on the rack. Grandma mentioned that there were countless dress boutiques further up Fifth Avenue, so we hurried out of Saks and continued our search. Though I still felt some cramps, they were less bothersome and seemed to signal that the end was near. We visited several dress shops quickly, and finally, I found the dress I had been searching for. It featured a flared skirt that reached my knees and a snug-ribbed bodice. The ivory fabric was adorned with a light pink rose pattern. The store had a size 12 that fit me perfectly, and after Grandma paid for it, we found a shoe store across the street with matching shoes. Now, I was dressed in my dream ensemble, the perfect bra and panties, the silkiest Saks pantyhose, a lovely slip, and a flattering dress. All that was left was to become a girl. As we approached 57th Street, another major thoroughfare, I saw the Plaza Hotel coming into view and knew the hardest part was yet to come. Failure was not an option. I had come too far up Fifth Avenue to turn back now. I felt like a girl, eager to be the woman Joey dreamed of, to grow up and become a famous woman. Observing the women around me, I saw myself reflected in their faces and appearances. Though scared, I knew the chain reaction would be intense and irreversible, but I had to find out if my fantasy about Joey and me would come true. "Come with me into Tiffany's," Grandma said. "I'm going to buy you something that will help you cross the threshold." Inside Tiffany's, she headed to a counter filled with diamond rings. "This time, I'm making the decision for you." She selected a ring with an exquisite 1.25-carat diamond. "That's the one," she said, and the salesman fitted it onto my ring finger. It was perfect. Grandma paid $20,000 without a hint of hesitation, but I didn't care. I was thrilled to have such a beautiful jewel on my finger. "Consider it my wedding gift to you and Joey," Grandma said, and I hugged her tightly, tears in my eyes. We walked up to 57th Street, where Grandma said, "This is as far as we go together. I'm heading to the Plaza Hotel to get a seat in the main lounge and order a stiff martini because I really need one now. You focus on initiating your change, only you know best where it should start. Take these last 2 blocks slowly and carefully. Go inward as deeply as possible. If you're successful, you'll begin to see a change that will quickly spread throughout your entire body. No one else has ventured where you're going. You're entering uncharted territory for men. I have nothing more to say. When you reach the plaza, sit at my table. Good luck, and God bless you." With that, Grandma hurried up the block toward the Plaza Hotel. Tears welled up in my eyes, not fully understanding why, but perhaps it was because I felt more alone in the universe than ever before. How was I going to navigate the last 2 blocks without her guidance? I watched her until she disappeared into the crowd. It was time to focus. I chuckled as I recalled a line from a country western song, "Let's get down to the main attraction, with a little less talk and a lot more action." What should I do? I needed to concentrate intensely on changing and hoped that it would become clear which part of me should lead the transition into a woman's body. I started observing the women around me, their faces, the way they walked, how they carried themselves. Suddenly, I envisioned all the bras being worn by nearby women, probably 100 different ones hidden beneath their clothes. I closed my eyes and imagined them gracefully moving down 5th Avenue and along 57th Street. Then I thought about all the pretty panties they wore, followed by images of their pantyhose, like ghostly tan shapes strolling along the street. I pictured thousands of pairs of high heels in motion. I tried to see how I fit into this scenario, just another bra and panty wearer on the street. I had pantyhose and a pretty dress too, and was thinking womanly thoughts. It felt like the traffic light had cycled a half-dozen times while I stood there. Each cycle brought a new wave of women from 5th Avenue or 57th Street, while those waiting for the light next to me walked away, giving me glimpses of their retreating figures. I barely noticed the men, they seemed irrelevant. With each group of women, I delved deeper into my own mind. I felt powerful surges of energy coursing through me, swelling and receding through the alleys of my consciousness. I must have been in a deep trance, because I was jolted back to reality by a sudden impact on my legs. A toddler, around 2 or 3 years old, had bumped into me and fallen down. Instinctively, I bent down to help him up, saying, My, young man, what a tumble. Are you all right? I was crouched on my heels, smiling at him as I dusted him off. He wasn't hurt and returned my smile. I asked, Where's your mommy? Over there, he pointed, and I laughed at him. Just then, a woman with a stroller and another child approached, accompanied by her husband. I'm so sorry, miss, the woman said. I saw him run ahead and bump into you. Standing up, I replied, Oh, no harm done. I think he took a bigger hit than me. He really is a handful, the husband added. Turning to his son, he said, Ivan, did you apologize to the nice young lady? The boy nodded vigorously, and I laughed. Yes, he did. He was very polite. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, the family moved on up 5th Avenue, and I continued to stand at the corner. With growing excitement, I replayed the entire encounter in my mind. Sorry, miss, nice young lady. They had said it to me. To me. I knew from the start that I had been acting like a woman. I had been gentle and nurturing with the boy, rather than brusque or resentful as a man might be. It was clear something was changing within me. So, what should I do next? I decided to cross 57th Street and slowly make my way toward 58th. As I looked across 5th Avenue, I noticed the sign for FAO Schwartz, the renowned toy store. I wandered in, hoping to find some inspiration amid the bustling crowds and vast array of toys. Eventually, I ended up in the doll department, where I discovered a quiet alcove filled with large stuffed bears. I sat down wearily, tucking my skirt underneath me, and began to focus once more. I thought about little Ivan, my reaction to him, and the growing desire I felt to hug him. What a lovely feeling it must be to hold a child close, I mused, imagining the warmth of my chest against a child's face. My thoughts turned to my own chest, adorned with the satin bra, and I imagined how lovely it must look. I pictured the small, feminine spot between my chests where a child's face might rest, and longed for that connection. The intensity of my longing surprised me, and I was suddenly struck by a sharp, searing pain in that very spot. I gasped in agony, clutching the area, but the pain seemed to ebb as quickly as it had arrived. Just as I began to catch my breath, the pain re-emerged in a burning ring that spread from the original spot. I clenched my teeth, trying not to scream, but I could feel the pain searing through my pointers like hot pokers before it subsided again. A concerned passerby approached to check on me. I was sweating profusely, struggling to stay conscious. It had to be the change, I reasoned. What else could it be? Just then, another wave of excruciating pain hit me, this time stretching in a circle from my neck down my sides to my stomach. I noticed 2 large pointers pushing against my dress and wanted to rejoice, but the new pain, now encompassing an even larger area, overwhelmed me. I let out a scream as the man who had approached asked, "What's the matter, miss? Do you need help?" I could barely speak through the pain, but gasping for breath, I managed to reply, No, it's okay. It's nothing. It'll be over in a minute, and I'll be fine." As the pain subsided momentarily, I relaxed only to be struck by a new wave of agony shooting up my neck and down into my lower body. I realized with horror that my penis was disappearing, and I knew it had happened. I fought to suppress my pain as the man, now joined by a couple of women, came to my aid. I braced myself for the final jolt, knowing it would be the most intense, and as it began, I felt myself slipping away. A few minutes later, I woke to the smell of smelling salts administered by a paramedic summoned by the store. "Miss, are you okay now?" "Huh?" I mumbled, half asleep. "Are you all right? Do you have a medical condition like diabetes?" No, I'm okay now," I said, slowly regaining consciousness. "Can you walk?" "I think so." As I attempted to rise, I noticed my wig lying on the floor beside me, revealing a cascade of long, blonde hair against my face. I reached up and touched it, feeling a surge of emotion that made me want to cry, but I held back, not wanting to break down in front of everyone. As I stood, I felt a dampness between my legs and saw a small red stain spreading on my dress. The medic noticed it simultaneously and asked, "Are you having a period?" "Yes, I guess so," I replied, though inside I was overcome with joy. "Perhaps you experienced a sudden blood loss from your period that caused you to faint?" "Yes, I think so." "It happens occasionally to me," I said, fabricating a lie. It was my first period, a logical consequence of the transformation. A woman standing behind the medic said, "There are pads in the restroom. Let me get you some paper towels so you can get there without making a mess." She quickly returned with towels. After the medic and others were shooed away, I placed the towels inside my panties with the woman's help. Standing was difficult because my shoes felt several sizes too big now, my pantyhose were baggy, and my bra was tight. Despite the disarray, the dress still fit, though it was stained with sweat and blood. In the restroom, I cleaned up and applied a pad. The mirror was surprisingly kind, my face was pretty, and my figure was more flattering than I had ever hoped. I thanked the woman profusely and left to find Grandma. She was waiting for me as promised. I sank onto a sofa in the cocktail lounge beside her. I don't think she was fully prepared for the reality of my transformation. She alternated between speechless and crying for 10 minutes. I feared it might overwhelm her, but she eventually accepted what had happened and acknowledged that Grandpa's theory was true. "Was it bad?" Grandma asked. "Yes, Grandma, it was. But I don't have any regrets." She noticed the red stain on my dress and I said, "I started my first period today, but I managed to get a pad from the restroom." I recounted the events, the encounter with Ivan, the visit to FAO Swartz, and she listened attentively. "It's funny," I added, "my shoes don't fit, and the diamond ring didn't seem to help much after all." Grandma smiled warmly. "I'm glad I bought it for you. Have you decided on a name?" "No, Grandma. But I've always liked the name Pamela. Pamela is a lovely name. From now on, that will be your name." We sat quietly for a while. I sipped a glass of Chardonnay and finally said, "I'm feeling sleepy, Grandma. I think it's time for me to go home." "Yes, you've had a big day. Let's get a cab and take you to Penn Station."